It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today for what is going to be our Extended Play Lounge episode number 55. This one's going to feel a little bit like coming home. Friends, we're doing The Raven That Refused to Sing by Steven Wilson. I have my LP out back there, as well as a few other Steven Wilson related projects and recordings. The reason why I say this one feels like coming home is because it really is my start, my initiation, at least recently, into listening to progressive rock. It was in 2017 at my mom's wedding. Mom got remarried in Clearwater Beach, Florida, and my brother played this for me, and I was floored by it. It was my initiation into Steven Wilson. I didn't know about Porcupine Tree at the time. I didn't know about any of Steven's past work, and it really has been the first one that I have included, even on the Daily Doug. If you look back in the directory, before I was ever doing music reactions, the very first episodes I was doing other stuff, and I did though include a little breakdown of The Raven That Refused to Sing. So I know this song. I know a few others on the album as well. Drive Home is one that I know pretty darn well, y'all. Luminol I've heard a few times, and the last time that I heard it was on a council hangout earlier this year. The rest of them I've never heard. I've never listened to the entire album from front to back, and so that's what we are up to today, and I'm happy to finally get to this album in its entirety. So let's get started. This is his third album, Steven's third solo album, released in February of 2013. It's not necessarily a concept album, but it is one that is connected by the inclusion of a series of stories about the supernatural. So I put this album up against four other albums that all deal with that in some manner, and this is the one that y'all chose by a pretty decent margin. And like I said, I'm eager to get to it. So we've got two of the most legendary rock and prog engineers and producers involved in this album, in Alan Parsons and in Steven himself. So I'm expecting everything to sound great and just be top-notch work. We've got Steven Wilson on lead vocals. He also plays the mellotron, some keyboards, some guitars, and some bass. He's also the composer and songwriter. Guthrie Govan is on lead guitar. Love hearing Guthrie's work. Nick Beggs is on bass and Chapman stick and backing vocals. Adam Holzman is on the keyboards, the Hammond organ, the piano, and the mini Moog. Marco Miniman is on the drums and percussion, and Theo Travis is on the flute, saxophone, and clarinet. So, Luminol starts us off, y'all. There's only 6 songs on this album, a true prog album, right? Luminol, I've heard it a few times. This song is based on a street musician in the town where Steven resides, and the busker there plays on most days, and yet he is virtually ignored by pretty much everybody, and it's almost like he has already become a ghost to the world while still living. And so the story in the song is based on the idea that the busker plays on even after he is dead. So let's start things off with Luminol by Steven Wilson. Off we go. It's like he's trying to start up the band. Come on. Come on. There we go. Right off the bat, Nick is just ripping it up on the bass. Woo. The bass is an F sharp. What's above it, I'll leave to y'all. Who will let Ian Anderson in here is what I want to know. So that sparks a memory, right? Or an influence. they're all really riffing just over one chord. Here we are, born into a struggle but come so far but ending up returning to dust. Might be the album in a nutshell. Some Mellotron in there. New section. Wow, Nick is just... They better have paid him by the note. They're still in a 4, I believe. Just really syncopated. There might be a catch beat. Yeah, there's a 7. A bar of 7 on the last bar of the phrase. Now, it's only, I think it's a four phrase periodic structure, and the last phrase of the grouping drops a beat. Cool. Little counter melody from the guitar. Maybe it's not a counter melody, it's just an extension of that first riff we heard. Did he move anywhere? I don't think he did. Boy, that's a transition, isn't it? I think he kept the F sharp and then just eased into E, a step lower.
Oxfam panache and tips his hat.
So we're talking about the busker.
He has no truck with idle chat. Work to be done. The songs he learned from scratched LPs. Stops in mid-flow to sip his tea.
The songs he learned from scratched LPs, stops in mid-flow to sip his tea. Like I said, I've heard this one, but not very many times, so this is mostly new. This one's mostly new for me. Songs we all know.
Each passing year etched on his face. Sun, rain, or sun. guess he'll never know.
There's that Mellotron. Flat 6. Flat 1. Just butter. That's all the lyrics that I have listed for this, y'all. He strums the chords with less than grace, each passing year etched on his face. The words he sings are not his own. They speak of things he'll never know. They're not even his own songs. He makes just enough to keep going back each day. F sharp to C, and then that weird chord is on flat 5. It's like a weird flat 5 major 7. How'd he get there? That was cool. Harmonic minor scale leading up to it. And then once he gets there, A minor. This is rad, y'all. I love the real piano, too. Up a step. He doesn't stay anywhere very long, does he, once he gets into it? The levels of each of the instruments are perfect in the mix. Piano playing in octaves. Yeah. Back at the beginning. like a Yes riff, right? So we've got real, like, prog metal, mellotron, organ, a Yes-like riff, organ that sounds like Keith Emerson, flute that sounds like Ian Anderson in 2013. Cool. Okay, we're off and running, friends. I remembered the main little motive of that, but most of it I really didn't remember. So, great stuff. I did the wrap up to it while I was still listening to it. So let's keep going. Next up is Drive Home, a song that I know well, and I knew it first by watching the video, the really fascinating video that is connected to this song. So the video version is what I'm going to be watching while I listen to this song, because it's so darn good, y'all. This one is dealing with loss. And specifically, we're dealing with the loss of someone that you love and love dearly. In the story, there is a car accident where one of a couple dies, and then the survivor has to cope with the pain of that loss. Stephen has said that the story was suggested to him by Hajo Mueller, who is the person responsible for the artwork on this album. And Stephen says the idea is a couple driving along in a car at night, very much in love, and the guy is driving and his partner is in the passenger seat, and in the next minute she's gone. And we're working with, what does a person do? What does that do? That experience do to the person that survives? And so that's the impetus and the context for this song. It's Drive Home, and it's by Steven Wilson. Off we go. This lovely lyrical opening. E minor, A major, and we end on D. Brightens up to A major. It's a chromatic third shift to F, to C, to D. Before it returns back to E. Deal with the pain, dust down your wings again.
You need to clear away all the chits out in your brain and face the truth.
1 flat 6 major 4. It's a chromatic third shift. That sounds so good.
Hold up and make amends. But while the darkness always ends, you're still alone.
That's the note that gets raised.
to clear away all the jetsam in your brain and face the truth.
The string arrangement is what gets me more than anything here. On this first part of the song, before we get to the epic guitar solo.
Darkness always ends.
Y'all.
You're still alone. So try
There's that move from C to A major. Then we add the major seventh to that A chord. This is a G sharp and it resolves down to a G natural. So we've got some chromatics. That's flat 6. The C becomes a C sharp. And then the G becomes a G sharp. It just brightens up there before coming back to E. I played the melody to this before. It's E, B, C, A, B, the 5 chord. And the illustrations are just amazing, aren't they? So the light brings us into the flashback where we know what happens. Then we get Guthrie's solo. Pretty much said everything about this song that I'm gonna say. I've reacted to it on the channel before, and it's one that I've heard several times. It's just wonderful, isn't it? I think that the solo was done in one take. It's got a biting edge to it. I love the sound that they went for in the lead. As he gets his emotions back underneath him, the leftover emotions in the guitar just slowly fade back into context that he can control for another time. An amazing little short film, right? And we've got all this that comes after it. I believe that that's all of the song. there. So I'm going to stop it there and move on to the next one, friends. It's great stuff, isn't it? Stephen has a a reputation for writing downers. I just think he's a really deep thinker. Whenever I start thinking worldly, I get overwhelmed with the stuff that I see that needs to be fixed, at least from my own perspective. And I think that sometimes he thinks globally as well, and he gets this is it. And when you get down to it, it's still just we're mired down there. And so that's why I think a lot of his songs are downers, but emotionally connective. And that's why I think his music resonates so well with such a vast array of listeners. The next song is The Holy Drinker. I thought he was talking about me for a second. No, he's not talking about me, y'all. He's talking about somebody that's worse than me. Stephen bases this one on the type of fellow who is very pious, who is very religious and preachy and almost self-righteous, kind of like a TV evangelist, okay? And while this evangelist happily tells people all about how they're screwing up their own lives, he is himself kind of a raging alcoholic who unwittingly challenges the devil to a drinking competition. Of course he does. And of course he loses to the devil and he gets dragged to hell. So this one seems interesting. I've never heard it before. So let's take a look at The Holy Drinker from Steven Wilson. Off we go. That's a different sound altogether. 3 songs, 3 completely different sounds. Is that a Leslie echo effect? That's a really colorful E chord. That little riff involves a flat 2. And flat 5. Yeah. It's not often that I hear something that's making use of Locrian mode, the flat 2 and the flat 5. Cool.
The holy drinker and his curse, in constant service to an unquenchable thirst.
There's that flat.
From his stupor the night gives birth, the devil rises from right out of the earth.
And from his stupor, the night gives birth, and the devil rises from right out of the earth. Righteous. Well, not quite righteous. There's a B flat to an F to an E.
Shaking hands, blackened hearts, the glassy pores. This time it's also last.
The shaking hands and blackened hearts, the glassy pores, this time it's the last.
Wrapped communion with himself.
Wrapped communion with himself, the holy drinker is going straight to hell.
Going straight into hell.
And that's a big A major. Got back to E. Rock and roll. I think it starts on a C sharp. Rhodes, Fender Rhodes solo. Just Phrygian mode now. It's like an E minor chord and a D minor chord. Back to it. I love these chromatic riffs. So is this hell? Now that everything's died down, did we make it?
This coffin was made from a tree.
Cool.
Please hammer a nail in for me.
Please hammer a nail in for me.
The bottle slipped right through. Plague beds now on the ground.
Still using flat 2. Makes sense, being pulled down to that final tonic. We're not done. Half step. Lay Sol, harmonic minor on the way down. Parallel descending, perfect fifths. Ends on a 5. I love that. Excuse me. I love all of these so far. Friends, that I never heard that one though. At the end, or the last lyrics that we get, the coffin was made from a tree, please hammer a nail in for me, is the last we hear from the holy drinker, right? And then we hear the bottle slipped right through, plague pits, now underground, take me down, down, put me in chains. So he's there, probably where he belongs, if you ask me. Let's keep going. The pin drop, another one that I have not yet heard. And in this one, we are addressing the concept that you can be with someone because it is comfortable and convenient, and not because there's any real love or empathy there. Boy, that would be not a great way to go through life in a relationship, would it? Stephen says that the song is sung from the perspective of the wife. She is dead, having been thrown in the river by her husband, and she's floating down the river while singing this song from beyond the grave, metaphorically. The song's main focus is how a relationship can build up so much tension and resentment and even hatred. And then the tiniest little thing can set off something violent or some sort of episode and can end in tragedy. Right? So it's the sound of a pin dropping on the floor that is the metaphorical match that ignites and instigates this kind of fury. So let's take a look at the pin drop and see what it is all about. Off we go.
Carried away by the river that bites the truth rushes onto the sea. Dragged by
Still a half-step relationship.
to rest on the stakes of the breakwater shaded by trees.
like a B major, back to C. Go back home. It stays there. Down my another half step. Did not hear my heart. Lydian fourth. That's C with a braced fourth in it. A major, which has a C sharp in it. Together, but tied together by only one note. It's a C major chord, C, E, G. And we pivot on the E, which is still in there. The tonic at the key overall. Right? Both before they get to this section. Down by half step. Turns minor. Before it goes down by half step again. That's breathtaking, friends. So imagine a relationship, and there's just no love there, but both people are putting hopes and dreams and optimism ahead of it, and it keeps them tied together. And so both of these things that happen with a ya-dum-be-dum-be-dum. So normally if I'm in C major, it's down the scale, so, fa, mi, re, do, but it's ya, da, dee, da, dum. It's Lydian scale, da, da, dee, da, dum. Right? So it's got that, it's a C major chord, but it's got a Lydian note in with it. And then he takes that note, the E that we're in, and he switches it from C to A. Right? And we pivot on just the one note. We're tied together by just the one note. And in this one, still a Lydian move over the top of that A chord. And then we pivot back. Really interesting. They're both optimistic and hopeful, but they're in their own lanes and they're only tied together by that one little thread. And the pin drop and everything goes to shit. So have more connection than just that one little thread, I think, is what we take from that, if you want your relationship to last and be healthy. That was fun. One more that I haven't yet heard before we get to the title track. This one is called The Watchmaker, and this one is about, guess what, a watchmaker. And he's not a very nice watchmaker, y'all. It's a watchmaker who kills his wife. Only for her to come back as a ghost and kill him in return by burning down his workshop. Hashtag karma. So it concerns a couple who's been together for many, many years. Again, simply because it was convenient and comfortable for them both to stay. And he is more dedicated to his craft and in love with his work than he is dedicated and in love with his wife, and that's not good. So let's see what happens in the story of The Watchmaker from Stephen Wilson. Off we go.
Watchmaker works all day and long into the night. He pieces things together despite his failing sight. Though all the cogs connect with such poetic grace, time has left its curse
Upon this place. Are they his?
Each hour becomes another empty space to fill, wasted with the care and virtues of his skill. The watchmaker buries something deep within his thoughts, a shadow on the staircase of someone from before. This thing is broken now and cannot be repaired. 50 years of compromise and aging bodies share. He lies a day, you know, there's something I should say. I never really loved you, but I'll miss you anyway.
I never really loved you, but I'll miss you anyway. And then we go to the flat six before we head back home. Eliza, dear, you know there's something I should say. I never really loved you, but I'll miss you anyway. Awful. And he's a watchmaker. He's concerned with time. little raw dough there. The playing is so expert, y'all, isn't it? It's just beautiful to listen to. There's that Mellotron coming back in. Is that the 5 or a new one? I think we're in a new one. The area of the 5. We went to the 5, and it may not be a full modulation. Yeah, it is. That was Le Sol La Do back in that key, so he's committed to being a G. Having the flute and the guitar going at the same time there was kind of cool. Suspended?
Well, you were just meant to be temporary while I waited for gold.
Again, it's from the perspective, I think this is from the perspective of the wife.
Having someone to hold. But for you I had to wait.
More of those half steps. For you, I had to wait until one day it was too late. That sets that up. It's not as sinister sounding as I was expecting it might be. For what's going on in the story. half step. And by another half step. He's using those half steps, isn't he? It's kind of... yeah. A chromatic third, another one. From a G major chord to a B flat chord. G7. Power metal band might put some double kick through here. The sparseness of it allows there to be space in the texture for all the intricacies that he's working with, so that we can hear them. That sounds like the beginning. Like the very beginning. Cogs and levers mesh. We are bound in death. Melt the silver down, I'm still inside you. Is this where she burns down his shop? Melt the silver down. You can't get rid of me. This sounds right sinister though. To make something so chromatic, be so approachable. That's it. That's how it ends, and it's a half step above where they started, I think. Can't remember anymore. I've neglected these songs. They're all good, y'all. Every single one of them. That's 5 of them. And then now the one that I actually really do know. So I'm going to have fun with this one. It's not a fun song, but man, every time I listen to this one, it elicits emotions. So if you haven't heard this one yet, you're in for a treat. It's the title track. Like I said, it's probably the most single listened to prog rock song that I have ever listened to. You know, it's the one that I've listened to the most. Let's put it that way. So this is a story about loss, another story about loss, similar to Drive Home, but here we're focused on an old man who is near the end of his life, and he is awaiting death. He wants to die. And he is remembering his childhood when he was with his older sister, who is named Lily. And they were everything to each other, and she would often sing to him when he was scared. And tragically, she died when they were both still young. And so now the man is old and living on his own and kind of separated from the world. And a raven starts coming to his place repeatedly. And he starts to think that the raven somehow is an embodiment of his sister. And he thinks that if he can just get the raven to sing for him, it will actually mean that it's his sister, Lily, singing for him, and that it's his sister who has come to accompany him on his journey as he departs this world into the next. And it's just a brilliant song. I'll talk more about it after I hear it. I want to be open to it and see if there's any other things that speak to me while I'm listening. This time, we again have the footage of a lovely music video, so we can follow along and listen. Let's do it, y'all, and end out this wonderful album. It's The Raven That Refused to Sing by Stephen Wilson. Off we go.
Sing for me, sing for me. You can come with me, you can live with me, heal my soul.
I think he's imagining that. And there he remembers his sister.
Sister, I lost you when you were still a child, but I lead you now, and I lead out from a light. I'm afraid to wait.
It's a repetitive petition. The music.
I'm afraid to love.
The first thing we get that's a different theme. Back to this one.
Just because I'm weak, you can steal my dreams. You can reach inside my head. You can put your son there instead. Please come to me.
Please come to me. Please stay with me. He needs that connection. It's kind of a duet between a violin and a bass. Or guitar and a bass. Or a guitar and a violin. And then we go back to this theme. They coexist. So we've got two basic themes, y'all. Guitar comes in. Just back and forth. And I think of this as the lullaby that she would sing to him. The lullaby remains. And he transcends. I think. That's my interpretation of it. It's a little bit ambiguous. I mean, the song is called The Raven Who Refused to Sing, not The Raven Who Sang. But we get to the entire end of the album, and it's just transcendent. And in my mind, he gets what he desires. And the remnant of the connection is this this theme. It's a lullaby. You know, and then when you put it against a B flat, I want to talk to you a little bit about this ending here, y'all, this last song, and musically, what I think about how it works. It's got an unusual form. It's not really a verse, chorus, a bridge, that sort of thing. There's two ideas. There's two main musical ideas in this piece, and they're related. One is this main idea, and it goes like this. It's lands on a C minor chord. The next one ends on a C major chord. And this theme to me is the embodiment of stasis, of just being stuck. And that's what I think the old man is at. First of all, we've got two different kinds of A's. We've got an A flat major chord. We've got an A minor chord. Give you the F, and then we get to C. And the first time you get a C minor, the next time you get a C major chord. So not only do you have two types of A's, you have two types of E's. Sorry. Right? But the thing that holds it together are the C's. The C is in every chord. It's the third of that chord, the third of that chord, the fifth of that chord, and the root of that chord. So every chord in it has the lasting C. There's C in the entire song. It never leaves. It never leaves. Even when we're doing the lullaby up there. We could go... Yeah, so both of these together, where the one is stasis and you're stuck and you're confused and you're kind of in purgatory, right? You're not sure which way to go with two types of A's and then two types of C chords, right? The other one is hopeful. The other one is transcendent for a couple of reasons. It's tonal in C in that, you know, it could be harmonized in a completely different way, but he puts a B flat against the first note. The first note's an E, and he puts flat 7 against it. The E is the hopeful third of that C key, and it's a Lydian fourth over that B flat, that hopeful raised fourth, and it resolves up. And as it goes up, it lands on an open fifth over that F, an optimistic open fifth over that F. And when it lands back down, it also lands on the optimistic ninth, the double fifth. So it's a Lydian fourth to a perfect fifth to a major ninth. And then we land on either the major third or an added ninth or an added second, and it's so buoyant, it's so transcendent. And it's those two ideas that get juxtaposed against each other. The first one takes over at the beginning of the song. The second one comes right alongside it. In those solo sections, you get one, you get the other. You get the hopeful one, you get Lily, and you get the old man. That's what I think of them. The lullaby is Lily, and the stasis stuck motive is the old man, and she's accompanying him. And they just learn how to be together, and they transcend, and that's how it ends. That's my take on it, y'all. That's how I choose to think of it. And if it is in fact true, then it makes it one of the happier endings of a Steven Wilson album. Amazing. I've had the album for several months. And I've listened to my favorite songs on it, this last one mostly, but I've never listened to the entire album all the way through, and I've never listened to those 3 songs in the middle. And every bit of these was great, y'all. It's in terms of a 21st century progressive rock album, it's a prototype. It's pretty darn solid, isn't it? You get all of the types of instrumentation that you're accustomed to having. You get guitars, you get bass, you get drums, you get keyboards, you get synths, you get nice vocals, you get nice, interesting stories to focus on in these songs, to work out these emotions. And I think that all of these, especially when we suspend belief a little bit, y'all, when we're talking about stories that have elements of supernatural things, or things that don't happen naturally in the observable world, okay? I think it suspends reality a little bit for us, and it allows us to see through the metaphorical nature of the story, the elements in the story, and to think more deeply than the surface level that we are given. Think about it. Every time you watch sci-fi, if you watch Star Trek, there's some underlying ethic or morality to it, even though it's presented in a sci-fi realm. Well, these are songs about stuff that happens supernaturally. And if we take them at face value and go with it, we can suspend reality for a bit and see through it and see, yes, I understand where that's talking about and what that's talking about. And it makes it that much more meaningful of a listening experience. So I thank you all for allowing me to return home to this song and this album. I kind of feel like it's coming full circle for me, y'all. I first heard it in 2017. I started doing the Daily Doug in 2021, early 2021. And as I've been spending most days listening to this style of music now for the past 2.5 years, I've come to really appreciate especially our prog superstars, because they reflect back to me from a classical perspective, from a real craft perspective about what they're doing with their music and their art and what they're saying and what they hope to impart to us and what they're working out for themselves. And it's a wonderful listening experience, isn't it? Because you get to go along the journey with the musicians and the songwriters and composers and everybody that worked on it. That was fun. That was so much fun, y'all. It sounded great, and I can't wait to do it again and listen to it again, but I'm going to stop for now and say thank you for being with me for episode 55 of our Extended Play Lounge. This has been The Raven That Refused to Sing by Stephen Wilson. Thanks very much, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.